And it's a good evening to Paul Dalligan. Paul, we're on the bye last week.
We had a week off, so just to recharge, but I don't have a full voice for some reason. I've been talking all day, believe it or not, Professor.
All right, well, let's get into it. The worst kept secret in the world, Lachlan Galvin has finally made his way to Belmore.
It's just astounding. We've said it how many times, how different NRL is to AFL with, I don't know how they handle the transfers, but it's probably a question without notice for you. How they just do it at the end of the season, I think, isn't it? They don't have this halfway through the season shenanigans we have.
No, you can only trade. You can only trade at the end of the season.
And I still, for the life of me, I'm still trying to recall why we have this. I think it's because all this unofficial poaching was happening mid-season. So they decided to make it official, but it's then led to this circus where you've got players leaving in the middle of a contract and being bought out of the remainder. So, yeah, it's not ideal at all, but he is a gun player. We've had a lot of backflips from Phil Gould. He's a big man to be doing backflips, but he was saying he's not interested in them, not on the radar, and then suddenly he's popped up at your Dogs, Professor. So that's quite a magic trick.
And Cameron Ciraldo's named him in the 22, but not named to start. And Ciraldo said that he may start in reserve grade. So you've got a $2.1 million player who's going to start in reserve grade maybe.
Well, we've also got another player we'll discuss shortly who's on 800 grand, who's been in reserve grade as well. So there's a lot of expensive talent. It reminds me of Wendell Saylor's nickname. You know why he's called China?
No, why, Paul?
When he played rugby union, because he's expensive and sits on the bench. That sounds like we've got a few similar nicknames getting around the NRL these days.
All right, Leo Thompson, 4 matches for the crusher tackle. Did you see it?
I did, yeah. They've got to stamp that out in the game. It's rules are rules. It's unfortunate for him, but if it's all in the name of player safety, you've got to be all for it.
Well, Paul, there's only one thing I know that you love more than talking about a Rabbitohs victory, and that's a Blues victory over the Queensland Maroons.
It is, and we've got them right where we used to be, which is chopping and changing teams. We'll soon see it announced, but Queensland expected to make a lot of changes, and as some much better tipsters than me have said, loyalty's great, but it's only when you're winning. So we're going to see Queensland chop and change their team. New South Wales, for once, not just better on paper, but better on the scoreboard, and it was just an unbelievable performance, and there's something missing with the Queensland team. Whether it's coaching, I don't know, but I think Craig Bellamy in there for the Blues might have helped a bit in the background.
0 from 4 conversions, Paul. If the Blues had have scored those, it would have been over well before into the second half.
It would have, and I wasn't relaxed until very late into the second half, given Queensland, as we know what they can do, but something's missing there. Cherry Evans is being talked about being dropped. So it's not often the captain gets dropped in any team, let alone Origin, where Queensland has built this dynasty they had on loyalty.
The Blues with a lot of good players, but I thought Brian To'o gaining 225 metres and Payne Haas, for mine, was probably the man of the match.
Yeah, he was, and there's talk about if he's going to go to one of these new teams, how much he could earn. I don't think $2 million is out of the equation for Payne Haas. He's that dominant. And just he's almost unstoppable at the moment, but it makes you wonder why the Broncos are going so bad, given that they've got him on deck. It's one of those questions we might not be able to answer on here, Professor.
And the women's state of origin, it was a dead rubber. Queensland got up 18-14 last Thursday night over the Blues.
Well, it's almost good. It is good for the series and good for rugby league that there was some competitive fire there. I've often tried to explain what a dead rubber means to Victorians. They don't get it. A lot of people probably wouldn't around the world, but you can see what it meant to the players. There was nothing dead about that game, as I think I predicted last time we spoke.
Women's season to start on the 3rd of July. I'm really looking forward to it, Paul.
Yeah, it's good. And I think the AFL could get some lessons from the NRL on how well the women's game is going. If you look at the ratings, it's through the roof. It really rated well, that game, as it should have, given the quality that was on show. So it's great for women in the game.
All right, Paul, a quick review of round 13. Dragons 20, Knights 6. It was really over at half-time, 18-0.
It was, and the Knights probably the biggest disappointment of the year, or one of the bigger disappointments of the year, along with the Broncos. Disappointing for the whole city, passionate city. As we've said several times, with Dylan Brown on the way and Ponga there, they'd want a good coach in place. They don't have that at the moment.
Now, Schooner wanted me to mention this one early. Sea Eagles 34, the Broncos 6, 22-6 at half time. Schooner sent me a text just after half time saying Fortress Brookvale.
Yes, well, the Schooners turned into Oktoberfest because that was quite a win. And it looks like Cherry Evans is back in form right when he's talking about him being axed, but it may be too late for Cherry. But the Broncos, wow, they were woeful.
Well, they're 11th on the ladder and falling like a rock at the moment.
Still, I see being kept safe by the bookies, and I think that's due to the fact they have so much talent there. Maybe they're getting their slump out of the way early, but my word, they were woeful. There's something very wrong with that team, and with all those stars, there's something wrong.
Now, I put those two matches together deliberately because I was just going to ask you, out of Adam O'Brien and Michael Maguire, who's going to be the first to walk the plank?
O'Brien, you wouldn't move on Maguire. They've got too much invested in him. They took too much of a risk. They're going to have to see how the season plays out. There's too much talent there for those Broncos to go into free fall from here. I think you'll find the Broncos will win at least 2/3 of their game from here. I'm happy to have that on radio.
All right. Well, I'll put a marker in the video there, Paul, and we'll play that back later in the year.
I think that they'll make the 8 and they've reached their low point. I've revised my opinion. They'll make the grand final. But I think from here, perhaps maybe let Origin get out of the way first. But from here to the end of the season, they're going to win a lot more games than they'll lose.
Storm 28, Titans 16. Now, that looks like a comfortable victory, but I'm sure Craig Bellamy was shifting around in his seat during that last quarter because last half it looked a lot closer than it was.
I can tell you this, he wouldn't have been in his seat. He would have been walking around like a death row inmate. He would have been not relaxed at all, and the footage showed that. He seemed a bit more relaxed in the Blues camp, but that was not a Storm-like performance, and we're not seeing Storm-like performances from them this year way too often. So they're a good team, but they're not playing like a premiership winner.
The Titans on the bottom of the ladder. Is Des under pressure?
Enormous pressure. There's a lot of money behind the Titans and a lot of powerful people there, as there are at the Broncos. They should be doing a lot better than what they are. I just don't know if he's getting the buy-in from the players that everyone was hoping for.
High-scoring, very entertaining game. Cowboys 32, West Tigers 28. The win takes the Cowboys to 6th. The Wests haven't been consistent. Do you think that Galvin leaving's affected them?
It definitely would have. You could see how deflated Benji Marshall was. He was asked about his departure, said disappointed is not the word. I think there'd be some other words he'd like to use, but it's a sad state of affairs with rugby league when you can raise someone up and they leave just when they're about to reach their potential, but that's just modern sport.
Your Rabbitohs 30, the Warriors 36. The Warriors are going from strength to strength, Paul. Wayne Bennett said your team lost intensity in the second half.
They did, and one man held them up, Latrell Mitchell, who was just phenomenal for New South Wales. We'll get to them this week. I was actually, if it's such thing as a good loss, that was a good loss because we showed a lot of spirit in that game. That Warriors team is a very good team. So I didn't mind the loss at all. It's unlike days gone by. We would have lost that by 20.
Now, quoting Wayne Bennett, I just want to ask you about this one, Paul, because it surprised me. They were talking about the pressure that players are under, and he said, it's a very emotional business. Players hide it, but don't be fooled that they're under tremendous pressure and they're very emotional about how things happen in the game.
Oh, enormously so. I do find it interesting when people get annoyed that the players laughing and with the opponents after the game, not seeming to care. But you should see the dressing rooms after they've lost. There's no smiles in there. It's deflating, and they might just be putting on smiles for show. It's a brutal game physically and mentally. And keeping in mind the average career is only a few years, they've now got this threat of CTE over their head, and the game's never been more intense. So you've got nothing but respect for these players who are putting their bodies and minds on the line every week. It's an amazing sport, and it would be brutal on those involved.
Panthers 18, Eels 10. I was expecting the Panthers to win by a bigger margin.
I wasn't. I'm still not sold on the Panthers. Many are talking about them certainly for the 8. I'm still not sure. They've lost too many players, but the Eels are rising, even though they're second last, I'm looking at. But they're showing some form, the Eels. They're not a bad team.
And what I would consider the match of the round: Roosters 24, Raiders 26. Three tries in the last 15 minutes. 2 points the difference with 2 minutes to go. What else could you ask for?
Just a joy to watch those Raiders. You had a combination of old heads like Corey Horsper, with a head like a robber's dog, and just he'll be straight into the Queenslanders team. But the young talent on show and the Raiders, no one can begrudge the Raiders if they went close to winning this comp. No one. No league fan could not think that Ricky Stewart doesn't deserve a premiership with that team. It's the perfect combination of veterans and young superstars. You look at KO Weeks, I mean, just freakish and strange. I mean, they're savage. They're a brilliant team. They really are exciting to watch, along with the Warriors, the two surprise packets this year, both of whom, if you don't enjoy watching them, rugby league won't get much better for you than that.
Rugby league's certainly very lucky, as you say, Paul, with the number of teams that are playing very entertaining rugby at the moment.
Oh, it is, and it's not a slugfest anymore. It's amazing skills on show, and some of the tries being scored are just phenomenal. I mean, you look at the guy at the Roosters with the long Fijian name I won't try and pronounce, but some of his abilities are just a bit unbelievable. So we are living in a privileged era for rugby league, and that's no wonder why it's setting all-time records for TV ratings.
All right, Paul, let's look at round 14 preview. It kicks off Thursday night. The Knights, who are 15th, against the Seagulls, 7th. As I said before, Thompson's taken his 4 weeks, but Kalen Ponga's back in after Origin. Jake Trebojevic back for the Seagulls, but Tom out for another week on the sidelines with injury.
The intriguing in is Jackson Hastings, who's on $800,000 a year, but apparently he's fallen out with the players. But then you've got Adam O'Brien, who needs wins and needs them fast. So he's going to be rushed back, I think, into the team. I think the Eagles should win that. But it's close to crunch time for the Knights. The season will be pretty much gone if they don't win this. I'm tipping this Manly, though, in a tight one.
The first Friday night game, Paul, Melbourne Storm 4th at home against the Cowboys, who are 6th. That'll be a very entertaining game. The Storm are first in relation to scoring points, 366 for the season. They're scoring at an average of about 33 a game, which is a very entertaining game if you're watching that.
Oh, it is, and you've got Harry Grant and Xavier Coates back, two of their best. It's a very good team. Storm differential's 147, and the Cowboys is -28. So if you just look at that alone, the Cowboys are in for a very tough night, I think.
Well, it's a big match for both teams, and one the Storm won't want to lose.
No, they should win that quite comfortably, I think.
All right, the nightcap on Friday, the Dolphins. Surprised Dolphins. They've surprised me with the number of games they've won so far, who are 10th on the ladder against the Dragons, who are 8th. They're in the 8th, Paul. That surprises me even more than the Dolphins.
It does surprise me, but I think at home the Dolphins will probably be too strong. They've got the hammer at fullback, possibly they're one of the best players in the game. They're looking very good, I think, the Dolphins at home. I don't mind the Dragons, but I think the Dolphins at home.
Now, the Dragons' money man, in inverted commas, Christian Tuipulotu is back. There'll be a money man celebration in this match?
Oh, I think they'll win the Dolphins. Yeah, pretty confident with it at home on Friday night.
Well, you know that Shane Flanagan banned his celebrations.
Yes, I know that, but I just can't see them winning up there in sunny Redcliffe.
Well, maybe they will show them the money.
That's it. Nicely done.
All right, the first game on Saturday, which is semi-Saturday, not Super Saturday, because there's only 2 games. We've discussed that in a prior show, Paul. The Sharks against the Warriors should be a very entertaining game.
Well, you've ruined my intended oral prank. I was going to have the Jaws theme playing in the background, but we do have copyright issues. As you've said, if we were to play the Jaws theme as I discussed this match with the Sharks, but I can play another sound for you, Professor. There you go. And that is the giraffe guarantee on the back of the white pointer shark. I think they're specials. This is going to be a game of the year for them. I think they've circled this in the calendar, and I think they'll do a number on the Warriors, who are flying very high. but I have the Sharks winning this one at home, coming out on fire.
A couple of mouth-watering games, Paul. We've already talked about the Storm 4th against the Cowboys 6th. Also, this is the Sharks 5th against the Warriors 3rd. So these matches will shape the final 8. There's no doubt about it.
Very nicely done when you're talking about a shark being mouth-watering, because it is quite a feast for the Sharks, I think. So it will be a massive game for them. I've still got them making the grand final. They're rising that table quite nicely, playing very good football, the Sharks.
All right, the Saturday nightcap, Paul. Now, listen, if the Titans get up over the Broncos, there'll be insurrection at Suncorp.
There will, and all the club legends are there. That can go either way. It could be pressure on the team, or they can rise, because all the former legends of the team, legends of the team who used to play for the Broncos are all on hand. I think the Broncos will rise. The Titans just won't be able to get it done against the Broncos.
Well, probably two big inclusions for the Broncos. Reece Walsh is probably going to be back, and Jesse Arthurs is back after Origin.
Yeah, so I think they'll be too good. The Titans are in free fall. They will rise for the derby, but I just think the Broncos, this is when they'll finally get it done. And they'll rise from here. I'll call it now.
All right. Titans have the worst defence in the league. They're currently allowing an average of 30 points per game. So that's not going to get it done.
Yeah, the Broncos could put 40 on them this week. I'm very confident, but they were too short for the draft guarantee. But you can have them in as the draft guarantee B if you'd like it. You want to put the two of them in a multi.
All right, Paul. Sunday
responsibly, of course.
Exactly. Gamble responsibly. Sunday, the first game at 2 p.m. Raiders playing at Bruce Stadium, second on the ladder against your Rabbitohs, who are 9th. What's going to happen with this game, Paul? I see that the Souths have got a trio back.
We do. We've got some amazing talent coming back with Cody Walker coming back, Jack Whiten. It's a fair team, and we're looking almost full strength apart from Cameron Murray, our captain. But I think the Raiders will get it done for this reason, that Josh Papali is breaking the record number of games for the Raiders. So there'll be a packed house there. It'll be -2 degrees, and I think that they'll get it done in the cold conditions, the Raiders, unfortunately for my Rabbits.
All right, the late afternoon game on Sunday, Paul. West Tigers, very disappointing 13th against the Penrith Panthers 14th. I think the Penrith Panthers might prevail there.
Oh, they will. The Tigers are unfortunate, because I was looking forward to seeing them this year. They're just a demoralised team after the loss of Galvin. It really is just unfortunate the way that it's affected that team. And they just don't have the talent, I don't think, to bounce back without him.
And we've got the Queen's Birthday Monday afternoon game at 4 p.m, Paul. My Bulldogs, who are leading the ladder at the moment against the Eels, who are having a terrible season, 16th. You say they're improving, but Toby Sexton's been told he's starting at halfback. So Cameron Ciraldo's got that out of the way very early on. The only thing to decide for the coach is whether Lachlan Galvin is in the team that's going to play or not.
Well, he's played 2 training sessions and he's impressed us with his attitude and work ethic. And they've said, where's he going to fit in? And it said, likely in the middle of the park in a roving role as a utility, perhaps. So I think the Dogs will get it done over the Eels. You've got Crichton back, Max King and Kurt Mann from Origin. There's a fair trio for you. And you're looking pretty much full strength there with a superstar, the next best young player in the current best young player in the game, not able to crack the squad, which it says a lot about the team. You're firing on all cylinders, top of the table, Professor, if you don't mind.
Yes, very good place to be, Paul. Well, that's it for this week's program. What we'd ask the viewers to do is to hit the like button, because obviously if they're watching, they like it. So don't waste it. Don't waste a like it, and also subscribe, because not only do you get the pearls of wisdom from yourself talking about NRL, but also you get our racing show on a Saturday, and we had 2 shows on the weekend, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. 50% win rate, 75% place rate both days for the racing show.
That's a very good strike rate there. I wish I could say the same about my rugby league predictions, but I do love it's uncertain, because it shows how even the comp is, apart from a few dud teams. I'm looking at this ladder now, and you've got the Panthers in fourth last. So who would have thought that? But every team above them is playing some pretty good footy. So I'm pretty happy with the season we've got on our hands, Professor. Always a treat talking about it.
All right, Paul, thanks very much for tonight, and let's do it again next week.
Good stuff. Thank you.